we start thinking of when the market recovers, when this downward spiral stops, what am I going to do? Do I have the fundamentals for me to rebound? And so, if we start, the moment we start thinking about that, we make sensible decisions. But when we are thinking about surviving, trying to cut the losses, trying to preserve what I have, you will be timid. You would not want to take more risk. And as a result, um, you cannot end up with more than what you have. The best case scenario is you just preserve what you already have. And that you just miss an opportunity to thrive.
Wow.
So again, fear is a drug that we cannot afford. Sige.
All right, good. Hi guys, we're in for a very very special treat, no. One of my idols is part of the vlog, ano lang, and it's nice that we get to hear his insights on this time that we are. I don't know. This is a very very different time, and it's nice to get someone who can glean. We can glean on his experience and wisdom as well. Without much ado, I'd like you guys to. I'd like to introduce you to Will Chua, super accomplished in his sphere of business and the way he also touches lives as well. I'll let him talk more about that also later on. But it's so nice to hear from you. Right now, tagal natin di nakita. Very, very long
Yes,
time.
that's right. Yeah. It's an honor to be with you today.
No, it's baliktad. It's baliktad. Uh,
No.
anyways, being in the business field, in you doing what you do, is this something that you've seen before? 1997 Asian financial crisis, 2008 crash, or is this somewhat different also?
This is different in a way that this is global, no? And in the past, it would affect certain aspects of life. But right now, basically, it affects the entire nation. So even the mobility of the people has been restricted. So this is unprecedented, really. I would say first time in history, both in scope and in impact, and even the length. Right now, open-ended. No, nobody really knows that if the 30 days is sufficient or not. If we were to base it on China, it took much longer than 30 days. But again, health might be on its way because there was a head start to for them to start developing vaccines.
Hmm.
So that remains to be seen.
As a as a business person, how did you nung nakita mo na nangyayari to noong January, how did you prepare for this for your own uh finances for the family and for the businesses that you run as well? How what did you do to somehow tweak your tweak everything also?
Oh, basically, when you see that, you start. Right now, you cannot really, we don't know what will happen long term, but more or less, observing the trend, you start making preparation, and a lot of things are the foundations are laid much earlier. So basically, this is really a lifestyle. If you start preparing last January, it may not be long enough,
Hmm.
although it helps, but it would be better if you have a lifestyle of preparing for crisis like this, no, of this scope. So when we noticed that in business, we started developing preventive and contingency measures. Preventive is if we can preempt that, if not, we can delay that, if not, then we also have contingency plans. Like the place that we're managing, it involves a lot of people, and for every employee, as far as I'm concerned, it's one family.
Hmm.
So there's an awesome responsibility to secure their job and also be in a position to help the entire family represented by one employee. And so basically, you have communities of people that you need to help. So aside from budgeting, is we plan for the long term. And calming the people is very, very important.
Mm,
Right now, there is a problem bigger than the virus,
mm,
and that is the reaction of the people to the fear of this virus.
mm,
So people tend to do things over, like they start hoarding, they start panic buying, and by doing that, they actually complicate the matter
mm,
and create more problems and more serious problems, no, and upsetting the whole thing. So our job as leader really is to, while we notice that this is not going to be good, you start making plans, but without getting rattled or getting emotional about it. As leaders, both in the workplace and in church, people look up to leaders, and leaders should be a symbol of stability. If we are panicking, if we are rattled, you send shockwaves through the people, and that is how they are going to react. But if they see that you are calm, and you look far, then you can stir up and you can minimize a lot of unnecessary problems.
mm. I like what you said about lifestyle. You mean you were preparing for this, that you knew that because everything was so good, dadating din yung time na magkakaroon ng downturn in this as well?
This has to happen every few years, every so often, and so just like it's seasonal, just like reaping and sowing. You plant and you harvest. So there are opportunities. In good times you always save for the rainy days. In good times you always invest. But then again, some people would invest everything they've got. No, we also set aside some cash. Just like when you harvest, the farmers do not sow all the seeds. They pick good seeds to sow, but they also leave behind some seeds for their own consumption or for their own sales so that they can survive. What's the use if you plow everything back and you cannot even tie between now and harvest time? So, so it's very important that we also set aside some cash so that, again, not only for us to survive. One of the things I do is I always set aside a budget to help people.
Mm,
I think we have to factor that in so
mm,
that we'll be, because we cannot avoid it. People will come to us for help, and we feel rotten if we are running on a tight budget. So it's always healthy for us to set aside certain percentage or certain amount so that we will be in a position to help people.
wow. Before I go to my next question, no, did you store coffee naman for yourself for this crisis?
Oh yeah, coffee and tea. I always build buffer. So
Okay.
that's why my wife would always say, hindi pa ubos. And I said, I always build. You never know. So right now, I'm prepared for this 1 month thing. So even I was not really caught by surprise. I have enough to tie me over.
Okay. It's okay to not have other items, pero coffee very very important.
Yeah, coffee and tea.
Okay.
So I have both.
Okay. Now you mentioned about we're already in this crisis and we don't know how it will last. I have some questions for different sets of people. What's your advice for people right now who are concerned kasi baka yung business nila might not do so well kasi a lot of businesses will be affected, retail, transportation, tourism, events, etc. They'll all be hit, or people who are also commission based that they don't know how long their cash will last if this will also drag on. What should they do in the midst of all of this?
Right now, I think this crisis gives us the best opportunity to birth new ideas.
Mm, wow. Wow.
And so, if our mindset is just to survive, uh, best thing that can happen to us is we survive.
Mm,
But if we look at this differently, because this is unprecedented, this has never happened, and we start thinking of how can I do business differently? How can I invest differently? How can I save differently? So that, uh, and thankfully, this is the first time that we have extended period wherein we're stuck. This is a reset button if we look at it properly. And looking back, we are the only one, the first batch of people who ever, who is privileged enough to experience this reset button, given this reset button. For so long, we are used to speed. And we have been sucked in by stress, by speed, everything. We're always on the go. We always wish that, if I only have time for vacation, if I only have time to do this. We never have time. Now suddenly we have time, and we just discover that we don't know how to manage time. We don't know what to do with so much idle time. And if we are not careful, we would squander this. But if we are intentional, this will be the best time. Really, I rejoice in this, not in the virus, but given the opportunity for me not to be rushed, for me to really recalibrate and even rearrange my priorities. Many things that we thought were important, we realized that were not important. Many things that were unlimited, we realized were actually limited.
Wow.
Toilet paper, which we take for granted, um, is never been a problem. In fact, few months ago, last year I bought a tissue making machine. Well,
Okay.
actually, two tissue making machine, and people were saying, "Why would you do that? Who would want to do that?" Well, that's the thing that people cannot live without. Just look at the riots in the supermarket, and so our timing is good because it's always the essentials. Things that we normally take for granted are actually the essentials: water, air, land, loved ones, time, health. These are the things that we take for granted, but these are really the things that money cannot buy and that are very essential. So this time, instead of worrying about how do I survive, we should start thinking that what can I do differently? And now you have more than a week to digest this, more than a week to analyze this, and say that, what if this happens again in the future?
Mm,
How am I going to cope?
mm,
So this should present us the opportunity to birth new ways of doing things,
mm.
new ways of thinking. And so this is not a problem. This is really an opportunity.
Wow.
It depends on how we look at that.
Galing, galing. So this could be a time for them to pivot. No, I mentioned this with a video with Pastor Dennis. Sabi niya, after this daw, it will be Dennis C 2.0 also. He will use this time also to be a better version of himself, and then allow himself to find out ano yung next for him. Do you
Yes,
do you agree with this statement that yung times like this, it allows you to position yourself for what your next move is? Kasi I agree with what you
yes,
said, because you're so busy, dito ka na lang nakatingin, you don't get to see this anymore also.
that's right. And the good thing also is right now, hindi lang ako naka-standby. The whole country, actually the whole world
Mm,
has frozen. And
mm,
so I'm not missing anything, but the
mm,
whole world is frozen. So I have the opportunity to really tweak, to really think, to really toy with new ideas without being afraid that I'm being left behind, because everybody else is not doing anything right now. The business are frozen, economy is not moving, so I'm not missing anything. And if I don't make good use of this, then I just missed a big opportunity. I agree. This is the time for me to catch up on my reading. This is the time for me to do a lot of things that I never have the luxury of doing, spiritually, physically, and even intellectually. So this should be a time for us to develop new hobby, develop new skills, catch up. People are complaining, why don't you just take less time on social media and instead start taking corresponding courses while you're at home? You can finish in 1 week, at least one course. And
mm.
so this is so when this is over, you have actually acquired, you come out of this with more knowledge and you are more prepared to try out new things, or you may already develop some new ideas that you can start working on when this is over.
Wow, I like that. That's why you're so amazing. You're super. And I don't have to watch any other video. Guys, you have to watch this video over and over. That last 3 minutes alone was amazing. Galing. And ano naman, and for another segment of people that they don't have enough savings already. They're worried about because people always say, and I've said this to other people I interviewed. People always say that living from paycheck to paycheck, it's not just for people who are minimum wage. There are people who are earning 50,000 pesos, but they're also paycheck to paycheck because their expenses are the same as their income, and then they don't have any savings. For those who are worried right now, those who are anxious about, rightfully so, because they might have a lot of responsibilities. What's your advice for them?
Or first, learn the lesson. Make sure that you are determined not to return to your vomit, not to repeat the same mistake again. But then, even as things are right now, you can do some things about it. For example, go over your groceries. I'm sure you don't need everything you have in the pantry.
Mm,
Some of them, give them away or sell them or trade them for something that you will be needing. The thing is, uh, a lot of people with limited income, they tend to overspend. Hindi balance ang spending nila. Na they buy too much of canned goods and then they forgot the toiletries, or too much toiletries and not enough food or things like that. And so, with what you have now, you can still wiggle out and make room, just make some adjustment with what you have now. So even in this lockdown, you have just go over your stuff. You have things that you can trade with people just to for you to, again, without incurring debt, you'll be able to get by.
that's a very very good idea. I would normally hear people say, look for things that you don't need, and then some people would say sell it. Pero yung trade it, that's
Yes,
that's so interesting. Kasi baka meron kang bagay na kailangan ng ibang tao that you can use you can
yes,
use.
and nobody wants to spend money, so you trade it. It's a win-win situation. Both parties will be happy about it, and so both of you can come up with this actually better. This is the time for us to go and really realize, what do we need? Do we really need that second phone? Do we really need that second set of uh, AirPod or something? So, by going through that, we'll be able to identify some white elephants which may be essential to somebody else and trade it.
Galing, that's a very very good idea. Sana nga when people watch this, they can, ako, just by what you're saying, if I'm an app developer, I will create an app in this crisis that will allow people to trade things
Yes,
also. That's an idea that people can, I don't know, tinker with as well. Um
yes,
with what's happening, no, uh with all of this, of course crises like this have happened before. uh it's easy to talk about it na pagtapos na we everything got better after. Pero for people
right.
naman who are, this is in general already, I think there's a lot of people who are very fearful. There's a lot of people who are panicking. uh what's the best thing that we can tell them to somehow say that, and everything will be okay, this will pass also? Because sometimes when you're in the midst of what's happening, uh you don't get to think logically already. That's why
Right.
even sa stock market yesterday, it was unprecedented. The stock market dropped almost 20 plus percent, more than 20 plus percent in one day.
Hmm.
We have never seen that in our entire history, from EDSA, Asian financial crisis, 2008 crisis. That never happened. But because of panic, because of fear, a lot of people acted that way. So I don't know, from your experience, your wisdom, what can be done? How can people not focus on fear but focus on at least having hope uh in this
Yes.
situation?
Uh, right now, there is a switch in our mind that will determine the course of our action. Most of our default are on fear. We just want to survive this. The moment we are on survival mode, there is absolutely no way that our creativity will flow. The
Mm.
moment we are switched to survival mode, there is no way how we can thrive because we are playing defensive. We would not want to take risk. Instead of embracing the risk, we try to avoid the risk. And that is, maybe for the feeder, that's it. But if you are the top feeder, you want to thrive, you actually embrace that way. So fear is a luxury, is a bad habit we cannot afford. How do we prevent that? You switch that. You start looking beyond the crisis. How long will this take? I don't know. Few weeks, few months. It might be over sooner rather than later. But nevertheless, we start thinking of when the market recovers, when this downward spiral stops. What am I going to do? Do I have the fundamentals for me to rebound? And so, if we start, the moment we start thinking about that, we make sensible decisions. But when we are thinking about surviving, trying to cut the losses, trying to preserve what I have, you will be timid. You would not want to take more risk. And as a result, you cannot end up with more than what you have. The best case scenario is you just preserve what you already have. And that you just miss an opportunity to thrive.
Wow.
So again, fear is a drug that we cannot afford right now because that mindset, the moment you switch on fear, all your decision making focus would be based on the negative, on defensive, on timidity, on cutting the loss, on not taking risks, staying put or retreat a little bit instead of moving forward. Billionaires are not made that way. Millionaires are also not conditioned like that. They thrive in crisis. So
Wow.
when we look at crisis differently, that's why it's fundamentally when you are not even rattled by crisis, then you are ready to exploit that. You are ready to harness the opportunity that comes with this crisis.
Wow. That was so good. Super, super. I just want to ano no, kasi since this has been happening over and over naman and you've been in the business landscape for quite some time. Was there an instance also before that nagkaroon ng crisis and then you saw that it's an opportunity? Parang I just wanted that you can give them somehow what you did before in that opportunity, then it turned around also kasi I think people need to hear good reports also of what happened, so that oh nga no, since this is something that is just cyclical, I can use this also as an opportunity for me in this time, in this moment.
Yes. There's remember, like what I said, seasonal. Now it depends on the interval. The intervals may vary, but the cyclical, the seasonality is to be expected. And so nothing lasts forever. So that times like this is an opportunity. Like right now, we are all down, locked in the house. This is the opportunity to sharpen our pencil, sharpen our saw. This is the opportunity for us to learn new things. And a lot of our investment in our companies, uh, we make the investment in times like this. Everybody want to sell. You
Wow.
buy very very cheap.
Wow.
Service will be super good. Cost you can bargain for crazy discount, and they will be more than grateful, especially with the manufacturers. Sometimes they have people canceling out on the orders, and here you come, you get to enjoy the fire sale, and so you position yourself that when the trend goes up, you can just ride the wave, so to
Wow.
speak.
Wow.
But if you want to hang on to your money, then you miss that opportunity. Like times like this, encourage your people. Okay, you don't know anything accounting, take online courses these few weeks. Company will even pay for it. You just take online courses. Now, when this is over, they report back to work. You have somebody with more skills and knowledge already. They can better contribute. So do not waste this opportunity. I don't call this crisis. I
Wow.
call this an opportunity, a
Wow.
God-given opportunity. Because in long term, you have almost a month, not just vacation, but vacation, you get to travel, get so busy. That's why some people, they need a vacation from their vacation. But here, you're at home not doing anything. There's so much to catch up. So I get busy. Like today, I woke up 3:30 in the morning,
Whoa.
and
Wow.
my wife was saying, "What? Where are you going?" I said, "Nowhere." I said, "I want to make the most out of this because look, how often do you have such so much time on hand that you're not doing anything?" So I don't waste it on computer games. I don't waste it on a lot of other things. Nothing wrong with that, but don't overdo it. But this is my time to refurbish myself, so to speak.
Mm. Wow. That alone pa lang, I'm sure, comment below guys if you are encouraged, no, and that's such a different perspective on things, that instead of focusing on fear, instead of focusing on the situation, focus on what you can actually do to get out of the situation as well. Sige, I'll just to put this to a close na lang. Thank you so much for the time. Any final words to people listening, that you think may help them in any aspect of their life in this
Yes,
time?
yes, this is the time for every one of us to focus inward. In the way that by focusing inward, I'm saying that you have to determine what do you want, what is your goal in life, because it is so easy for us to follow the trend right now. People around us are panicking. They're making emotional decisions. And if you're not careful, if you switch your focus to them, you will start following them, doing what everybody else is doing. And if you follow what they're doing, you cannot expect a different result. You will end up with the same result that they have. So this is the moment for you to recalibrate yourself and ask yourself again, what do I want? And then stick to it. And say, okay, now how do I forward this at this point? So right now is the time for you to stabilize yourself, get rid of a lot of dead weights in our activities, in our planning, even in our investment. Sometimes a lot of them are not really helpful. They are more, like candies, nice to have, but not necessarily serving any purpose. And so for us to streamline so that we can really refocus, no. Over time, kasi from time to time, we really need to recalibrate it. And this, never have we. This is actually we have enough time for an overhaul.
Mm. Wow. Amazing, super. I think this is one of the most. I've done over 1,000 videos in YouTube. This is not just the most relevant, but this is something that there's just so much wisdom in this. Just 30 minutes of this video, and I don't know if this is something that's helped you. Can I promote that you put videos also in Facebook? Can I? Do you want me to?
Ah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So if
Yes.
you
Yes.
so Willy Chua does a lot of videos. The past few days he's been doing more, and if you want to be encouraged, I'll put the link on his Facebook below also, so that if you want, at any point in time you think you need uh you need you need to be equipped, you need to be encouraged, you can watch it. You can watch the other videos there. If this is just a glimpse of what you can get also. So yeah, thank you so much for the time. Super
Thank
uh,
you.
amazing. I'm so amazed. Galing. So thanks everyone also for all of you guys who is watching this. I really do hope that in the midst of all of this you don't get scared, you don't get frightened, that you always look beyond the crisis, that you always push forward, that you always know that I said this with Pastor Dennis in the previous video, that in the crisis, that's where Christ is, that
Yes.
he will never let you go, he will never leave you in this situation as well, that you can also
Right.
get out of this. And when you get out of this, your goal is to be at a higher position, at a better position as well. So
Yes.
so
Yes.
there, Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and God bless you.